Hello, welcome to the February edition of the third grade mathematics parent video newsletter. In this video, I will demonstrate how to name and construct shapes into fractional portions or parts using a strategy from the third grade Unit 5 fraction unit. Two of the standards that will be addressed with the strategy are 3.NF.1 and 3.G.2. These strategies talk about partitioning shapes into equal areas and then expressing those shapes as a unit fraction or a part of the whole. Students use shapes to understand fractional parts. When students are exploring different fractions, they will begin with using shapes. A hexagon in this example is the whole. Then we will use a trapezoid to express 1/2 of the whole. The 1/2 or 1/2 is a unit fraction. Students in third grade need to gain an understanding of the unit fractions. In the next example, it shows a rhombus. The rhombus fills 1/3 of the hexagon. Therefore, the 1/3, the unit fraction, because it's a one part of 3 parts total. In this trapezoid, we're using triangles to fill the fractional part. And one triangle is 1/6 of the hexagon. Since fractions are new to third grade, teachers will be using some fraction bars to help students gain an understanding conceptually of fractions and unit fractions as fractions of the whole. They may also be using fraction circles as manipulatives or tools to help students gain an understanding of fractions. So as students move through the unit, they begin partitioning rectangles. When they are partitioning rectangles, the focus needs to be on equal shares or equal parts. And what happens is when students begin to model this, they do not necessarily make equal parts. A lot of times students will just start making 4 parts, and once they have those 4 parts, they realize that they're not equal. So while I do have, and I have partitioned this into 4 parts, they are not 4 equal parts. So we need to start teaching them a strategy to help them become better at making those parts more equal. So the strategy we're going to talk about today is thinking about the denominator in the fraction. So in this case, if I were going to partition this rectangle into 4 parts, into 4 equal parts, I would need to make sure that I start talking to them, the students, about the denominator. And in this case, since the denominator is an even number, we start talking about anytime the denominator is an even number, we can start by partitioning the rectangle in half first, because visually students can see 1/2 a lot easier than some of those smaller parts. When we're thinking about the fact that I've taken something that I need into 4 equal parts and put it into 2, now I know that if I have 2 parts on this side and 2 parts on this side, I'm going to have 4 parts. So if I take and I mark my spot in the middle so that they're visually equal, and then I mark another one over on this side, now I have 4 equal parts, and students will begin to partition into equal parts. Then they would label each of those parts with their unit fraction. In this case, it's 1/4 or 1/4. As we begin to practice that strategy, many times we will start by asking the students just to partition this one in half. So we can see if they have a good idea of about where 1/2 of a bar is or a rectangle. So once I have them mark it in half, they would mark each side with the unit fraction of 1/2 or 1/2, because 1/2 and 1/2 is the whole. And again, to practice those fourths, we start talking to the students about the denominator being even. And if the denominator is even, then I can partition my rectangle into half first to help me create more equal spaces. And in this case, since I need 4 equal parts, I know that I need to create 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side to make it 4 equal parts. So I can visually see that half of this is about right here. So 1, 2, and then another one on this side, 3, 4, and now I have 4 parts, and they're visually equal. As students move through these models, they will begin to use these equal parts in linear models as they move through fractions. I would label each one of these equal parts with my unit fraction of 1/4, and then I move on to this next one. I would like students to create this into 8 equal parts, and since we know 8 is equal, these would get a lot harder, but with the strategy of breaking it in half first, it helps the students understand that this side is going to have to be 4 parts and this side is going to have to be 4 parts. So since 4 is an even number, we teach them that 4 is an even number. I'm going to break this side in half and I'm going to break this side in half. And now I still need to break some in half because I only have 4 parts and I need to have 8 parts. So I would create this into 2 parts and this into 2 parts and this into 2 parts and this into 2 parts. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. So this strategy of teaching them to break it in half or partition it in half, if the denominator is even, will help them make sure that they have more equal parts. I would then have them label this with the unit fraction. And again, having these rectangles really helps them be prepared for that linear model later on in the unit. I hope that this strategy has helped you understand how to partition in fractions, and I want to thank you for watching today's video newsletter on naming and constructing shapes into fractional parts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and check back for more videos.